Hello dear viewers, myself Nasir. You are watching Mr.Zoologist YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about ecological risk assessment. Ecological risk assessment involves the assessment of the risks posed by the presence of substances that are released to the environment by man. In theory, on all living organisms in the variety of ecosystems which make up the environment. Means to say these toxic substances are released via anthropogenic sources. Ecological risk assessments are performed to evaluate the likelihood of adverse ecological effects occurring as a result of exposure to physical, chemical, or biological stressors. These are in the form of toxic substances. Ecological risk assessments provide technical support for management decisions. For example, whether to allow a discharge to a body of water, whether or how much to clean up a spill, or what harvest limits to set for natural resource. And if we talk about development of ecological risk assessment, you have to look upon all these factors as you are looking upon the image, that you have to control the sewage treatment plants, grassland, agriculture soil, groundwater, surface water and sediment. Your activities in all these ecosystems components will be valuable. And if you talk about what are the steps for ecological risk assessment, in actual ecological risk assessment is a step-by-step process. There are following points in the risk assessment you have to look upon. First of all, you have to identify the hazards, then you have to assess the risk, and after assessing, you have to control the risks. After controlling, you have to record your findings, what were results of your risk assessment procedure, and at the end, you have to review your control. Either your control was successful or there was no fruitful results. And if we talk about identifying the hazards, look around your workplace and think about what may cause harm. These are called hazards. Think about how people work and how plant and equipment are used, what chemicals and substances are used, what safe or unsafe practices exist, the general state of premises, conducting the experiment or utilizing these toxic substances. Think about hazards to health such as manual handling, use of chemicals and causes of work-related stress. And after that, you have to assess the risk. Once you have identified the hazards, decide how likely it is that someone could be harmed and how serious it could be. This is assessing the level of risk. Decide who might be harmed and how in this procedure, what you have already done to control the risk, when the action is needed by, who needs to carry out the action for controlling that risk. After assessing, you have to control the risk. So you have to look upon you are already doing and the controls you have already in place. Ask yourself, can I get rid of the hazard altogether? Means to say, can you remove all the hazards in a collective way? If not, how can I control the risk so that harm is unlikely? Means to say, how much harm can be reduced via your action. That will be the part of controlling risk. Next, you have to record your findings. If you employ 5 or more people, you must record your significant findings, including the hazards, things that may cause harm, that can be in the form of liquid, solid or gas, who might be harmed and how, what you are doing to control the risks. At the end, you have to review your controls. You must review the controls you have put in place to make sure they are working. You should also review them if they may no longer be effective. If your controls are not working, you have to replace them, you have to review them. There are changes in the workplace that could lead to new risks. Such changes in these are the skeptical approach or skeptical writings for controlling or assessing or ecological risk assessment. You have to identify the challenges, assess risks and vulnerabilities. You have to identify options which are available for controlling the risk. You have to evaluate options at the end. You have to take action. You have to monitor and evaluate. After contributing all these steps, after working on them, you have at the end to evaluate whether the results were fruitful or not. So that was the topic for today. Hope so you have enjoyed the video. We will meet you in the next video. Till then, peace out.